What is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLW Games, coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster in Time City once again. And today we are going to have an amazing episode. We actually have a little bit of a longer episode than usual. I actually recorded a little bit longer than I usually do. It almost got close to 2.5 hours of footage here. So I just got going into a certain spot towards the end and just got into it. So that just kind of continued. So in this episode here, where we're starting off at is we're actually building a little bit of some backstage areas here. And so this backstage area is going to have a kind of like a warehouse kind of building here. And this warehouse building is kind of going to be like where they store different mechanical stuff and different things like that. And they can also receive shipments through this because it will also have a big garage or big warehouse door on the other side right here, as you can see that I start to put in. So we get this little warehouse door in here, actually for that could be functional if I really wanted it to be, because it actually is animated, which is cool. But I'm going to add a little more details to this building later. It doesn't have a lot of details because it is just literally a backstage building, so there's not much to it. And if you know those kind of buildings, they don't really have much to them. They just, they're very simple, square usually, and there's not a lot to them. So I wanted to start working on filling in some of these empty areas, and that's going to be kind of the focus here at the beginning, is we kind of fill in these areas just a little bit, get some fencing going along up to the hotel, and it works quite nicely. It works really, really well, and I was actually pretty pleased of how that turned out. And we just continue on down to the coaster here in just a little bit as well. So this actually turned out again really nice, and I'm very pleased with it. But I feel like there's still a lot more to do in the entrance area as a whole, and just every episode we're going to work a little bit more into it. So that's going to be really nice, and I can't wait to see where that heads. So this is a really good episode. Like, I'm feeling really good about this episode. I've noticed that there is an audio glitch in the triggered speakers. Those trigger speakers, they do kind of have like a very bad glitch where they don't work all the time. So I noticed going through there's actually some glitches in that where it doesn't work. Like, it works at first, and then it decides to stop working after a little bit. So that's kind of a glitch that I hope they address. Someone said that they were in the forums and they actually saw that they addressed it, saying that it's something that is going to be hopefully fixed pretty soon, and hopefully that is the case. So I made this little trail here for the road, so it has access. So it looks like it has access in order for like big trucks and stuff to drop off some shipments or something like that, for different things like that. And you might see I might have multiple different areas that will have backstage areas with that kind of thing. So there's a little bit more than one of those kind of hanging around. I might have some service roads going back behind the park as well from the road. I think that'll be a good thing. So we did do a lot of work with this, and I did a little bit off screen after the episode too, not much, just to kind of see if I could figure out the audio issues. So that's kind of a thing. And with this episode, we get a lot more done in the queue line for sure, with our custom railings. And these custom railings are turning out quite nice. I'm very, very satisfied of how they're turning out. I wanted to get this tackled, this ramp or exit ramp tackled a little bit here, because it was just kind of something that I always try to, forget about, but I know I can't forget about it, so I had to get it done. So it wasn't that big of a pain. It was actually decently easy to accomplish. I still have to do the other one on the other side for the entrance as well. So once that gets together, that will hopefully turn out quite nicely as well. And I wanted to get a lot of footers in for the support structures, because that's one detail that I do want to have through the entire park. If there's something supported or some stuff into the ground that it needs some supports. So some sort of support to hold the supports, which is the footers and the ground. And those are very important in real life. So those have to go in there, and you can see we kind of go in and do some of the priority pass entrance, which is a nice, good little thing as well. This little switch over to the where it connects is actually going to be a nice little cool thing. So, and you have these little. This is gonna be the tough part. Was these, because you have the little like ramps for these, and they're very difficult to figure out how those are all gonna play out and work. So more scenery things going on over here with like trees, bushes. Of course, I wanted to always keep adding more in those in each episode, because those are gonna take a while to get all those in there for sure. And the really cool part about this section of the coaster, it's a little flyby section right by the queue line, so I wanted to create this opportunity, capture this opportunity, and really make it a nice moment, because I want to be able to, like, you're waiting in line and you can just see the trains fly by on the track. I figured that would be a nice little touch for this amazing coaster that is going to be going in here. So I do want to have this area kind of covered, so it's probably going to have a roof over it of some sorts, even if it's just, you know, kind of like an easy kind of nothing like complex roof. It's just a cover, even if it's just like a cover kind of roof, you know, it will still look good. So, but anyways, it's going to be nice to see that come together. It's coming together quite nicely now, and each episode is really putting more and more pieces kind of together in this park. So this section is really looking nice, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here, because we have some more rides to place in. We actually get our second ride in the park. That's exciting, isn't it? Later, it's actually more towards the end of the episode, but we do get that in, and I wanted to build a little bit more sections of the park. So we create this new section of the park right down here. We use a lot of terrain to get the pathway back down there, and I did come up with this really neat idea. I thought, what if I used because the gosh dang, the queue line path right there is actually hovering over this pathway pretty well, and I thought it would be a cool opportunity to make that, like, fuse it into a building. So you'll see here in just a little bit how we actually accomplish that. I was noticing that while I was trying to get this pathing down, kind of, and right here. So you can see where we actually go in and build this wall here, and I actually make this wall an actual building for like a food stall, which I thought was kind of neat. So I figured I'd capture this opportunity. We put in a Tiki Chicky, of course. That's one of the probably the best food stall to go in this section, and then of course we have Gulpy Soda going right next door in another building. So also wanted to do quite a bit of nice rock work with some of the terrain that we're going to be that we're working with in this section. So I didn't want to make everything just super flat. You know, the entrance is pretty flat, but I didn't want to make the whole park that way. So I wanted to have different areas that had, you know, some interesting terrain, and that's one thing about this section. It's going to have some interesting terrain behind it, and it's going to work really, really well. I want to make these buildings a little detailed. It's hard to create these detailed make these buildings detailed, but at the same time make it look like it's, you know, millions of years old of some sorts and hardly holding together. You know, that's kind of the difficult task that I came up with. So I thought wall climbers would be my friend for sure, and they definitely have been. So I'm just trying to add different wooden texture, different wooden pieces here to try and help out with. I'm going to have a lot of, everything's going to feel overgrown with different things like you know, with plants and trees and stuff like that. Everything's going to feel overgrown. It's going to feel very nature like throughout this section. So you're going to see mostly just the wooden buildings and a lot of plants and trees, of course. So I want to have a lot of different things throughout here. I do want to try eventually get some dinosaur models in here somewhere. Not models, just like structures to kind of, you know, place in some spots. So just for people's to view, kind of like just as scenery pieces, if that makes sense. And I think that would be kind of a neat little thing. So I went through here kind of a little bit because we had a new viewer and they just kind of wanted to take a look at the park. So just kind of bear in mind that these time lapses are being recorded live. I'm actually doing live streams while I'm at the same time. So anyways, that's another thing. Make sure you're checking out these live streams, and if you want to support the channel, be sure to you know, support by if you do catch the streams live, you know, you can, you know, share some bits. Those bits are very easy to follow and figure out how they work. All you got to do is watch some ads. You can get some free bits, and it actually helps supports the channel a whole lot. And you can support the channel for free. So it's a really nice way to support a channel for free. If you want to support the channel, you can also support the channel by watching live and stuff. So be sure to follow on Twitch, and maybe you can catch some of the streams sometimes. So a lot of fun always in the streams because you guys always have your opinions on stuff, and it's really, really nice. So I definitely like the support and seeing, you know, people love watching live. It's just really fun. And you also get to see some sneak peeks sometimes. Sometimes I'll even throw in POVs in there. Some stuff that you don't usually get to see through these videos and stuff. I know some people like just watching the time lapses and seeing the progress within 20 minutes or less, you know, of the 2 hours. And, you know, that's very understandable. But, you know, live streaming is also fun because you get to talk to people and just kind of discuss stuff about Planet Coaster, and we do a lot of different stuff like that. So if you haven't already, be sure again to check out Twitch, the Twitch account, or the Twitch channel, not the account, the Twitch channel. You'll definitely not regret it because you'll get to see some extra stuff, especially if you tune in live and everything, because we did another 2 hours of stuff after we built in the park. So I even did a couple stuff off screen in the stream. Nothing notable, just, you know, some speaker work and stuff like that, audio work on inside the game. That's about all I did, but it does help quite a bit. And I tried to figure out that glitch to see if I could find a solution until the glitch gets fixed, but I couldn't really find a solution at all. So it's just gonna hang tight to see where we're just gonna leave it the way it is right now, and that's how it's gonna be. So, excuse me. Anyways, we get in our second ride of the park, and this is a Tri-Storm flat ride, which I absolutely love this flat ride, and I have not actually used it all that much in my parks. So I don't even know if I have one in any of the other two parks. I don't believe so. If I do, it would probably be in Arrow Valley, but I don't believe I have one in Arrow Valley either. So I wanted to theme this sucker up quite nicely, so we go in and place in all these wooden pieces, and I wanted to have kind of like that wooden feel, and I guess it was on uneven terrain slightly, so that kind of sucked, so I had to work around that as best as I could. But overall, this flat ride is going to turn out quite nice because it's going to have the theming in there. I don't know if it will probably add on to the theming aspect and excitement rating. I don't know if it changes the excitement rating. It might change the excitement rating, but yeah, this was looking quite nice, so I decided to keep going with it, and we, of course, used some custom fencing for this as well, because I don't really want any like metal fencing or anything like that. We're gonna try and do our best to stay in theme and as best as we can, and hopefully it turns out quite nice. So it has turned out quite nice so far. I'm very excited for this to see this all get finished up in the near future. So I hope you guys get excited about that as well. It's all cool, and I might even create my own little custom booth for this little guy over here. Build around it just a little bit, make it look a little bit different to go along with the theme a little bit better. So give it that Jurassic feel. There's going to be a lot of cool music throughout the different sections of the park too. I'm going to have different music playing through the queue lines and everything like that. I'm really really customizing this as much as possible, and that is something that I definitely wanted to do. And that's the biggest goal of this park. It's just going to be a big, detailed park with a lot of realistic parts to it, and that's the one thing I wanted to do. So at first I wanted to try and redo the line here, and I noticed that it wasn't going to look the way I wanted, so I was like, maybe if I just see if I can raise and lower the ride itself, which I was able to do actually successfully, thankfully, and get the line to come pop through anyways, and it worked out decently well, so I went with it. And that's when we get into the point trying to get rid of these like annoying spots here, as you can see in the ride. So I just kind of did my best. I actually was able to place a couple of path pieces to fix the one by the entrance. This one I couldn't fix, so I had to do some sort of path cover, and I came up with this idea with this little viewing area. So this is going to be a part that's connected with the pathway, and it's going to just be a little seating area. So I place a couple of benches here just to kind of go with it right by the exit, and that way, you know, people that aren't riding can at least kind of, you know, watch the ride from a certain aspect. So, and then I came into this issue where trying to place the these guys was really hard. Just the benches didn't want to cooperate, so I just placed a couple, and then placed just some, you know, scenery pieces just to kind of finish it off and make it look at least halfway decent, which it actually turned out quite nice, a lot nicer than I thought it would. And there's still a lot of details I want to add to this flat ride even after this episode, so we still have a lot to do. The reason why this episode got a little bit longer is because I wanted to get this fence in and, you know, at least get this section or this flat ride at least halfway finished. At least, you know, it's not going to take too long to work on this flat ride, but if you pay attention to your flat rides like you should, you can really make them look a lot different than what they originally look like, you know, just by theming them up a little bit. And that's why I want most of my stuff, flat rides, I prefer them to be pretty generic theme and not already themed. I don't mind a couple themed here and there, but I usually prefer this. But anyways, that's about it for this episode. All we do is pretty much finish up this railing, and that's gonna wrap up this episode. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and stay tuned. Make sure you follow again Twitch to watch these episodes live if you want to catch these live. But anyways, that's gonna do it, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe for more amazing content like this, and I will catch you guys all in the next episode. Thanks so much, guys, and make sure you have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks, and goodbye.